The Firmware Upgrades tool is a feature on the Meraki dashboard used to obtain firmware version details and schedule upgrades. To access it, navigate to the Organization Firmware Upgrades page. Let's examine the information presented on the Overview tab first. Admins can view the most recent firmware changes and roll back the networks to the previous version if that upgrade took place within the previous 14 days. Scheduled changes will be presented here for easier rescheduling. To simplify and streamline the firmware upgrade process, we introduce the firmware status and highlight the networks with the firmware in warning or critical status here. It's always recommended to run at least the latest stable version for each respective product in order to ensure the best performance, stability, and protection from security vulnerabilities. You can reference our documentation for the definition of different firmware statuses. Under the latest firmware versions, admins can obtain the latest available versions of each release stage, such as stable, stable release candidate, or beta for each product, and view the release notes. Multiple networks in this organization are running with the firmware in the warning status. Select these networks to proceed with an upgrade, which will take us to the All Networks list while the target networks are already filtered. A side note here is that scheduling a firmware upgrade on a template will ensure that all child networks are bound to the template upgrade to the selected firmware version. That's why the checkboxes for the child networks here are grayed out. Select All Networks and then select Schedule Upgrades. In this window, we'll select the target firmware version. The number of options to choose from depends on the availability of versions in different stages. Since this demo will be a maintenance upgrade without adding new features, we'll select the latest stable release candidate to take advantage of bug fixes while staying on the same major firmware version as the current. We can view the release notes once selected. Select Next to continue the scheduling. We can either perform the upgrade now or schedule a future time. The Meraki devices will reboot to complete the upgrade, so to minimize the impact of an upgrade, admins usually select a time with less business traffic in the network. Let's schedule it for the weekend and move to the next screen. This change summary highlights information such as networks to upgrade, the upgrade path, and the schedule date. Select Schedule Change to complete the scheduling. All the scheduled upgrades will be listed under the Scheduled Changes tab, and this is where admins can reschedule or even cancel an upgrade. Let's cancel the scheduled upgrade we created previously. Select Next, and you'll see a summary of the cancellation. Proceed by selecting Cancel All. Thanks, and we'll catch you in the next video.